Welcome everyone, my name is Kieran Walker and I'm joined here by Will Bryan, NEP's newly appointed full-time coach. Today we're just going to get an insight into Will, his coaching philosophy, what he's about, his running background and how he's going to help change the dynamic with NEP. Will's competing in Manchester Marathon in less than 2 weeks time, skied up for that. So let's bring him in and firstly see how he's doing, ready for the big day at Manchester. How you doing, Will?
Not too bad at all. How
Nice.
are you doing, buddy?
Yeah, going well. So we're in the same sort of training cycle together, heading into Manchester, aren't we? We're 11 days out now. How are you feeling for it?
It's getting to the point where it's all becoming very real.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's starting to get a bit nervous now, but we'll be fine.
Completely normal. And how would you describe your training block going into it so far?
A bit of a roller coaster, lots of niggles, but just managing them. But I think I've had enough good quality days to hit the marathon well.
Yeah. It certainly looks like you're in good shape. So if anyone who didn't know, Will came 12th in 2021, great another run. We ran 64.58. He was battering some Olympians out there. A lot of you might have seen a post he's been putting up in the NEP social pages about his background and what he's been doing and his awesome progression over the last few years. So firstly, Will, what attracted you to Northeast Project in the first place?
I think, to be honest, from the background I've had from running with club and uni, is you get a lot of egos in running. You get a lot of people who are very elitist. I've had people in the past who wouldn't talk to me until I started beating them in races, and you just don't get that at all in NEP. You just get a lot of people who are completely egoless, all striving for their own personal goals, and yeah, everyone's just really happy for everyone else, which is just exactly what I'm about in the sport.
Yeah, awesome. So what sort of background have you had in running in terms of clubs yourself? Well,
so initially when I was like a small kid, I was part of my local club. It was literally just like 200 meters down the road. It was supposed to be doing sprinting training for my hockey, but it basically involved me just joining the back of the queue to do a sprint each time, so I'd never actually had to do any because I didn't really like running at all. Kind of progressed through, was always part of the club but never really ran, and then hit uni, and stuff changed. Was playing hockey, got a bit quicker than I thought I would, just from doing fitness. Decided I was going to train for a 10k, see if I could break. It was 38. I wanted to try and break. Started training for that, and then took it from there. Joined uni, and then joined Southampton Athletics to join a track club.
Nice. And more recently, Will, like in terms of your running background, what have you been up to last year?
Last year, so last summer was a lot of track work. So doing 5Ks, 1500s, 3K, even chucked in a cheeky 800 meters in there just to completely humble myself and get absolutely battered in a race. But also, as you said, Great North. So a couple of road 10Ks, that half, and a 10 miler. So I've kind of covered the whole range of distances, really, apart from the marathon.
Mm-hmm. So leading on to marathon, what made you pick a marathon now? And why are you debuting in Manchester in a couple of weeks?
Yeah, so 24. I'd always said I wasn't going to run a marathon this early in life, but then COVID had meant that Commonwealths, Euros, and World Champs all fell on the same year. Being probably just naive and hoping, I thought when I first started training that 2:14:30 might have been on the cards, just because, just from my half and knowing that was a tough course, I thought it could be on. But I just wanted to have a crack at FS, really. Obviously, expectations have changed with my niggles and everything. So, but that is why I'm running the marathon. Plus, as a lot of people find, you learn a lot about yourself. You really you go through the ringer in a marathon, and you really learn that you can keep going even when it's proper struggling.
Yeah, it's an important point. I think there's even a lot of people in NEP who are training like a marathon runner, but not necessarily running a marathon to learning more about themselves and progressing ways and for other distances as well.
Yeah, because you're tired all the time, and there are unlike you, there are some days where I don't want to run, and
That's me every day.
but like when you're still going out the door and doing it, and you're still hitting the times you want to hit, you learn that you can do it.
It becomes a habit. Yeah. So 2:14:30 is the qualification standard.
Yeah, for you.
Likewise, I was supposed to be doing Paris marathon. I still haven't got rid of my place actually. So that was going to be my goal after I ran Manchester in October. So it's quite interesting how we've linked up and ended up doing the same thing. But like you said, the big attraction for me was the fact it was a Commonwealth trial and a Championship trial. I think it's bringing all of us together, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the big domestic one where London's been pushed back.
Yeah.
This time of year, it's the big one that's happening, so it's good to be involved.
Yeah. And have you got any plans for doing autumn marathon yet? Have you decided that far ahead, or is this just?
No, I haven't really. I wanted to see how this one went first. If it went really badly, I could just go, "Oh, we ran it early, put that to bed, try again when I'm older." But if it goes really well, I'm just like, don't know, it might be a trans. That's another thing with the marathon. I swear I'm coughing all the time. Yeah, might transition to the longer distances if it does go well.
Yeah, which it will.
We'll finish together, mate. We'll finish strong.
That's our attitude, isn't it? Okay, so we got a whole host of questions from NEP today. Some really interesting ones, some sensible ones, and some dodgy ones. We're covering your own personal running. We're covering your coaching attitudes, your philosophy already, your work-life balance, and some interesting ones later on. So let's start with some coaching ones. We got one from Stephen here, and he's asked, "What have you learned so far as you've been introduced to NEP in the last few weeks, and you've been sort of interacting with people on social media and coaching on a virtual platform? What have you learned so far about the community?"
I've learned that these people are all just trying to progress. The philosophy is really being followed in NEP. So the idea of having that scientific kind of background towards their training, and everyone's kind of just following the same plan and pushing ahead at the same time. Also, the hunger for knowledge in the group is amazing. So like for this, you ask people for questions and they will throw questions out at you, and the feedback you then get from it is people are actually listening to their coach and want to learn and want to progress.
Yeah, it's a good coach-athlete relationship in the community, isn't it?
Yeah, it's nice to have, because as a coach, you want your athletes to listen to you, because if they're not listening to you, you kind of lose motivation to actually push people on. So it's really nice to have a bunch of athletes who want to learn. Yeah,
and you've lost the club, haven't you? I think there's loads of examples of clubs where there's coaches in place and athletes not being coached by the coach and looking for external advice.
Yeah.
And I guess that's why they come to people like us, the Northeast Project, isn't it? We coach a lot of people from other clubs who are here for their coaching, and they run for other clubs. But that's different matter.
Yeah. Plus, you get the whole buzz of the community.
Yeah.
Which some other clubs don't really have. If they don't really have those training groups that Northeast Project has, you just kind of don't have that kind of motivation to push each other on.
Yeah. And Stephen asked a question to me, I guess, about what have I learned from you whilst you've been here at NEP. And I think the biggest surprising thing was that how closely matched you were to the NEP philosophy and how we do things, almost straight up. Like you haven't even read much about what we've done like in those early weeks, and you're responding in ways to people as if you were being coaching here for a year. I thought that was really impressive.
Yeah, I think where I've come like later to running more as an adult, a bit more mature, and not being great straight off, I've kind of gone through the ranks and have like appreciated how that it doesn't come easy to people, and you really have to push and strive for it, otherwise it just won't happen.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. So we've got some questions from Helen and Amanda, die-hard NEP fans here, and ambassadors. Okay.
can tell from the amount of messages I get from them. I can tell it's good to have.
And we've warned you about Helen, so should we start with her?
So she's one of the few I've been warned about. So,
so Will, you're living in the south, and there's so many running clubs available, and I guess job opportunities in a similar industry. What was it about NEP that made you want to be one of their coaches?
it's a difficult one to say beyond what I've already said, to be honest. The whole philosophy and the way the athletes work and respond to each other is rare, from what I've seen and what I've heard from other people. So once you see a hub in the country, I don't care where it is, I want to be involved.
Yeah, it's quite a commitment, because obviously you're based in Cardiff at the moment.
Yeah, but I'm more than happy to make a commitment to you guys. That's why I'm. So I don't know if Kieran's mentioned it, but he's going to try and take me on full time. So I handed in my notice for work, which means my contract at work runs out just before the presentation evening. So I'll be up for the presentation evening. I should be around for a couple of weeks if Kieran will have me.
Yeah, that's not a couple of weeks, and it involves a training weekend. Involves the Neptune relays, Dream Team Mile Day, lots of different coaching events going on.
Exactly. Wanted to get to know you guys as much as I could.
Yeah, and a whole host of events planned throughout the next year. Who knows where it's going to lead to? Okay, next up, Amanda. Again, philosophy. She loves it. Will, what can you bring to the NEP philosophy to carry on the great work that's already been started? Okay.
Yeah. I think for me, a lot, the reason I kind of started running was through kind of a lack of self-belief. I went through quite a bit of a dark phase at uni, to be honest. Just with parents getting divorced, just wasn't really happy. So I wanted to try and do something to improve myself. So I think what I can try and bring to NEP is teaching people about the mindset of running, how to get the most out of it, how to get the enjoyment out of it, and also how to just help people through the dark days with running as well, because I've had a lot of injuries as well, and there have been moments where I've wanted to quit and really close to quitting, but you kind of learn ways to adapt and keep just reminding yourself there is a reason and there is a purpose for doing this. So hopefully I can bring and help people through those moments.
Yeah, it's a really interesting point. I mean, running is not plain sailing, and there's a whole host of people in NEP at the moment who are injured or struggling with mental health or things aren't going right. You know, it's not like everyone's firing, doing exactly what's on the plan every week. Coaching would be easy if that was the case, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think that's also another thing that's amazing about NEP, more than any other club I've seen, is that kind of mental health support. The ambassadors, with having that cafe catch up you had, they're not things that I've ever seen before in a club. So the fact that that's in place is amazing.
Yeah, we're trying to be forward thinking. We've got some great welfare officers and ambassadors who can lead that. Yeah, 100%. It's not just about the running, is it? It's about everything around it.
Yeah. Well, if you're going to make it your lifestyle, you want to be able to enjoy it. So.
Exactly. It's a life choice, NEP. Okay, let's get on to some training questions then. So, bringing you in as a runner here. We've got some really good, interesting ones. A few about hitting a wall and how we're pushing through, and maybe some I guess some of the American guys and girls here talking about some things. But Chris has got one. When you're peaking training in racing, how do you push on the next level? So I guess maybe look back on a point in time when you have plateaued a bit and what you've done to have another breakthrough.
I think I'm assuming this has come off the back of like a slight plateau with the running. So you've hit a point, and then you're trying to find how you can get to that next level.
I'm not sure what Chris is talking about because he's taking half an hour off his marathon.
I'm trying to work out where this question's coming from, which place this is coming from, because the guy's smashing it at the moment. But I think keeping a good log of your training is really important, because then you can look back and see what changes did you make last time to improve, and where your weakness is in running. So for me, I know that turnover and speed goes really quickly. So it's something I have to keep working on, because if you don't work on your weaknesses, then your strengths won't be as good as they can be. Because it's not just, even if as a marathon runner, you can be great at the long distance, but you need to have the whole range of tools in your toolkit to be able to run it properly.
I agree on that. I know we talk about our turnover days as being faster than marathon days.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just reason why I've included a lot of mile pace work in my weeks all the way through the marathon. But even when I'm not training for those distances, it helps keep some fast twitch fibers in there.
Yeah, you do need them, because you need to be efficient at all the speed. So
yeah, so working on weaknesses, Chris. Keep working on those weaknesses. Okay, let's have a look. Who we got next? Let's go to Catherine. Catherine's got, what's your top 3 things that you do to prevent injuries?
Number 1, recovery. So getting your right sleep, doing all your stretching and everything after your runs, that has to be important. Number 2 is, we talked about weaknesses in terms of your running, it's weaknesses in terms of your body. So I know naturally, probably just from sitting down all day at my desk currently, my hips are awful. So I have to do a lot of work on my hips to keep them strong so I don't get injured. And kind of number 3 is getting your nutrition right. If you're not eating properly, your body's not going to be able to absorb the nutrients it needs to be able to repair. Because when you're running, you're literally tearing your muscles. So your body needs to be able to get the proteins, it needs to get the right carbohydrates and everything to be able to put you back together again.
You're a bit of a chef, right, Will?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I love food. Yeah, but us marathon boys, we have to eat loads. So you've got to make the food taste good.
Difference is you eat loads of good stuff.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't have had the pizza. But
yeah, no pint before a race.
Mate, if I had a pint before a race, I'd still be drunk the week after. Complete nightmare.
Yeah. If you could give one nutritional tip on recovery, in terms of just nutrition itself, is it a certain combination of something you'd have after a session, maybe?
After a session, I try to get a decent mix of carbohydrate and protein. It can be difficult some days when it's I'm at work, so being able to prepare something. So it's normally a recovery shake. It's on the big marathon days, but yeah, trying to get in some form of protein and carbohydrate. It doesn't really matter what source it's just being able to get that in.
Yeah. Even Greg's.
I'll push it to a Greg, yeah.
Brilliant. It's me started.
It's basically a sausage roll, isn't it?
Exactly. Let's not beat around the bush. Leading on to injury, interesting question from Noel. Have you ever faked an injury on a session or a race?
I've wanted to, but I've never actually done it. Yeah, even on those terrible days, I have. I don't know if you have. I have wished an injury upon myself. It's wouldn't it be way easier if my hamstring
Not sure about that.
No, I have thought it. It was if my calf just went now, I wouldn't have to go through this terrible session anymore. But I've never actually faked an injury.
Yeah.
I don't know what that's saying about you, Noel. I don't know if you could be asked your coaches.
Come on, Noel. Get your head sorted out. Yeah. Now let's head into some deeper questions. Okay. So we got one from Janet. Still fairly training related. What have you had to give up or stop to progress your running? So whether that's in life or in training or...
Yeah, so I guess just in life, you've got a lot of different plates spinning at the same time, haven't you? You've got your social life, you've got your running, you've got your job, and you can't keep them all spinning at the same time. So you've got to try and work out which ones mean the most to you. Shockingly, running is up there. Social life outside of my girlfriend is probably the one that's gone. I've been asked out to go to the pub and go out for drinks quite a few times, and I'm like, I can't, because I'm training for this. And like training for Manchester was like, I was asked out for the pub, and I was like, I can't, because I need to be able to hit the session the next day. So it's kind of making those sacrifices. But if it's what you want to do and it's worth it to you, then yeah, that's why I'm doing it.
Yeah, we can't do everything, can we? If you want to be great at something, you've got to make sacrifices.
Yeah. Was it Kipchoge says? It's like something about
don't be a slave to your moods. Yeah, there's lots of quotes from Kipchoge. We have a whole week of them. Okay, another training related one from Zoe. Do you think that training should be different for running for fitness compared to running for a race? Or training for a race, rather?
I think running for fitness, you can be a lot more generic with your running. So you can just go out for runs, because you can gain a lot from doing very little with running. So if you just went out, Joe Block just went out 3 times a week, ran 5, 10K at just an easy pace, they'd be relatively pretty fit. I think training for performance, you have to be very specific about what you're hitting, when you're hitting it, the paces you're trying to run, the mileage you're doing. So I think you have to be way more tailored for running for a race. You have to be way more, just specific of what you're doing and actually have a purpose to it.
Yeah, no, totally agree on that. Totally agree. Linking back to Catherine again, I think she's offering an interview question here. Do my job. She's what is your coaching philosophy and approach to training? If you could sum it up in a couple of lines, overall.
Probably, it's a difficult one, isn't it? In a couple of lines.
I mean, it's a big question.
Yeah, it's a huge question.
I've been writing 2 weeks on a paragraph for NEP coaching philosophy. So
probably just try and be better than yesterday would probably be my like go-to line, because that encompasses trying to progress, trying to do what you can to make that day count, and just keep moving forwards with it. Yeah,
I think that's a great quote. Yeah, it's something we're always trying to do, and educating ourselves on doing. Yeah, love that.
Yeah.
Okay. Thinking back to Claire, now she's asked some really deep questions. I don't think we can answer some of the later ones, but where do you see your running being in 1 year's time?
1 year's time, it's a difficult one, because
so you'll be coming up to your 3rd marathon.
You're coming to my 3rd marathon.
In your London training block.
Trying to qualify for Paris 2024. I'm hoping, because we've both been on the start line, the elite start line for races, haven't we? With Great North. Well, I've only had Great North and Great South. I'm hoping I can kind of infiltrate that a bit more and kind of be, instead of just like the guys at the back of the elite race, actually kind of mixing it in and actually getting involved and being able to compete in that race rather than just like making up the numbers.
Yeah, you're only saying that because you've been in some really high caliber races, but you're saying I'm making the numbers up.
Well, I only seem to ever target the big ones. So.
Yeah, you've been harsh on yourself. Okay, so that's in running. Where do you see you coaching in 1 year's time?
I'm hoping I can have a similar setup to NEP, but kind of down south, so we can broaden the philosophy from being just up north down into national. So there's a lot more people who can kind of learn each other. So I'm hoping I'm going to have my own training group using the same kind of philosophy, and I'm hoping I can learn a lot of you guys to be able to take that down south and make something special happen.
Yeah, going global, huh?
Exactly. Probably claim it was global if I stayed in Wales, but international.
Yeah, European. We've got a question from Noah. Going back training related, but what race have you learned the most from, and what did you learn in that race?
Probably the one I learned the most from was I ran it. It wasn't a race for me, I ran Loch Ness Marathon, and I did it with my mum. So I technically have done a marathon, but I don't count it because I ran it, not competed in it. But I learned that running doesn't just really have to all be about you. Like the reason I did that was to help somebody else and to see someone else improve. And running is a very selfish sport, but you gain a lot from helping someone else. But she broke her PB, and I was like over the moon. I think I was almost in tears just because she'd broken her PB, and I was like, yeah, I want to try and do something like with my running to help other people. So I learned a lot that day.
Yeah, so I want to be a coach, right?
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
For Mark Pearl, if you could have one, well, what is your dream race, your dream run, either a place or an event? What would it be?
I'd love to go run out in Japan. So have you seen like the Ekiden races where they have those massive long road relays?
Yeah.
I think that would be amazing because just the way running is treated is just completely different out there. It's a lot more professional. They have like proper teams, almost like F1 teams. I think just having that completely different culture and view of running, I think that'd be amazing.
Yeah.
What about yourself, mate? What are you thinking?
You give me UK relay ideas. North to south.
Good to. Do you have to go around Birmingham though? It's a bit naff, isn't it?
Yeah, skip out the Midlands.
Exactly.
Myself.
Yeah. Where do you want to go?
It sounds really boring, but tons of marathons, like my like the best race I want to do, biggest thing I want to do. So I want to experience that soon.
Autumn.
Yeah, for me it's the be all and end all of World Marathon Majors. And if not that, Berlin Marathon, purely for a fast time.
Yeah.
I love the city. Yeah. Okay, we got two good ones here. So when we come back to Manchester, this is from Ian. I think you know what's coming.
Yeah, I know what's coming.
What's the forfeit for whoever comes second between the two of us in Manchester?
I think we can link it to a second question as well. It's got to be a beer mile.
So yeah, Ian's second question is, when's the first NEP beer mile going to happen? This could be earlier than you think.
It could be. It could be the training weekend. That could be the session for the training weekend.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I think it's you choosing your own forfeit, to be honest, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, because I don't see you beating me. So I'm joking.
Yeah, we've only talked about tactics just a bit, haven't we?
Yeah, a little bit. Because to be honest, looking at training, we're going to be in and around the same kind of pace.
Yeah.
If I can keep up.
Yeah. So if we're together with 200 meters to go, it's from me. Who's got the better turnover?
Absolutely don't. But you've done like 23 times 200 when you're only meant to do 20. So
The dodgy GPS. Yeah. But yeah, it's going to be interesting in 11 days. So we got quite a few from NEP doing Manchester as well. There's quite a few supporting. We got a few supporters coming along, Will?
I think my girlfriend's going. But she's going off on the day, but no, not really. Well, apart from NEP now.
But you're going to get a lot of support from us. You're going to get a lot of support. But yeah, it's going to be a good day. Weather looks good.
Don't say that.
Touch wood.
You just jinxed it, mate.
Yeah, it's just about keeping niggle free and getting fresh now, isn't it?
Yeah, just control what you can control.
Yeah.
All the external factors you can't do anything about, so there's no point worrying about them.
Yeah, exactly. And some things around NEP are probably going to be back down a bit next week, just as we both prepare for it. Get rested and get our energy levels up, and then once we've both smashed Manchester, it's ready to go on the attack, and let's do some coaching domination around the UK.
Exactly. We'll proper go for it.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you for listening, everyone. Hope you learned a good insight into Will. And yeah, let's catch up next time. See you later, guys.
See you guys.